Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back for another battle rap against British versus French in Portugal, this time from the Peninsula War. And this is a custom scenario for my list of homemade scenarios. And the defender here have to protect this village from an incoming enemy. Essentially there are two objectives: the two entrances of the village, plus each house is an objective. Every controlled occupied house at the end of the game is 3 victory points for the side that occupy it, and 1 victory point for occupying or control the entrance of the village itself. So we use the terrain, and this is a barrier, a small one, a low barrier. Each house is separate defendable terrain, and the fields around the village, the plowed one, grant light cover but also slow down. The grass one is open terrain. The rest of the field is pretty open, a couple of hill, lots, 3 woods, road, and that's it. And the defender will start with half of its troop on the battlefield, and the rest will arrive with reinforcement later on. And the attacker start entering from the long table edge down there with half of his force at the first turn, and then the remaining battalion will enter later on. And that's it. And today is the day that I will try for the first time, which is a real historical list. And this put me in a condition to say it's hard to make historical list with 28mm, but I will speak of this maybe in a video later on. That's it. This is the forces that start on the field and try to defend the village, waiting for the reinforcement that are going to come. As I said, I tried to replicate the historical list for the battle of today, and the British deployed the 3rd Division of Sir Thomas Picton and the British Light Division of Sir Robert Crawford. And the Light Division is the unit that start on the field. So Sir Thomas Crawford here, which as a trait is bold, and at his order has 1 battalion of Monmouthshire Regiment on foot here, a battalion of Cazador here, and on the field just outside the village, half battalion of 95th Rifle Elite in Tenacity, then a company of the 95th Rifle which just is inside the church of the village, then 1 element of the 3rd Division, the Portuguese Brigade with 3 battalion, 1 in column in the center of the village, 2 deployed in line to protect the entrance of the village, and that's it. Now we'll see the force of Picton that will later on come in. So 1 of the 3 brigade of the 3rd Division is just on the field. So we have Picton here. We have the 1st Brigade made of the 35th Nottinghamshire, the 74 Island Regiment, and the 88 Corner Ranger, plus 3 company of the 60 Rifle. And the 2nd Brigade is the Northumberland Regiment on foot, 83 Regiment of foot, another 88 Corner Regiment on foot 2nd Battalion, and the 94 Scots Brigade. And I have to change the banner because I have not enough green banner. Then 3 guns from the reserve artillery, 2 field gun attached to the 2nd Brigade, 1 horse battery attached to the 1st Brigade, and that's it for the British. Sir Thomas Picton here is the overall commander. He has as a trait intractable, aggressive, and the glory seeker, and so 2 bonus and 1 malus. That's it for the British. Now proceeding to the French, and they will enter with half of the brigade, and I will present them when they are on the field. Back in a sec. the French is entering their first turn with half of their brigade. Facing the British today is General de Division Mermet from the 6th Army Corps, 2nd Division is his division, and I filled an entire division with some support. So Mermet, which is straight is bold and glory seeker, lead its 1st brigade on the right with 3 Leger on the left that try to attack the entrance on the left down there, and 3 Regiment de Ligne plus 1 field artillery. In front of them 4 company of voltigeurs making the vanguard deployment of vanguard infantry from the home rows. Then the 2nd brigade here with 3 other Regiment de Ligne with 1 field gun, and 3 more line infantry Regiment de Ligne on the left. At the first turn, see all the French advance from at the double from the double age, and the vanguard infantry that were deployed earlier make their move at the double and occupy that wood and make a screen in front of the main French army. Just to remember, they cannot claim objective, so even if they control one objective or their houses, they cannot claim for the victory petition. The reserves are the cavalry, because Mermet have 2 cavalry brigade attached to the 2nd Division, made of 1 squadron of chasseurs and cheval and 1 squadron of hussars with a battery of artillery and cheval, and then, because I spare point compared to the British, reserve cavalry corps, 2 regiment of dragoon, the first 1 squadron of the 3rd and 1 squadron of the 10th dragoon, and that made the French turn. They will arrive on the turn 3. The British reserves start to arrive on the turn 4. They will arrive on a 2+. They arrive for the British. They arrive automatically from turn 4. And that's it. Now moving into the British first turn, because the French have just done their first turn, and they drew the card of attack of fortress, which maybe will come in a hand later on. Now moving into the British, and then a quick recap. The British AA defense is a central defense. I have for the rule take another 1 = 1, but probably never will change because the main objective is in the center. I made a slightly change on my table for the defense led by the AA. If when you roll is a nonsense dice, the officer may act on initiative, and on a roll of a 2+, they will score up to the first censored 1 order. What I'm saying, I have to advance and I roll a relief, which means that I stay where I am. There is no danger in front of me. If on a 2+, the officer act on initiative and move to the first censored 1, so probe, move forward toward the objective. For example, if they roll a 1, they strictly remain on the order and obey to the EA order 1. Because in the last 3 or 4 games, sometimes bad rolls mean that they stay where they are, or do something really stupid. So I made this decision in the end. It's a game. So first British turn, the first card is an 8, not useful at the moment, but came later on in a handy. Defense, just troop in the center, so 5 will mean engage in defense, means unit prefer melee over fire, engage only unit with 2 casualty. The enemy is advantage, but there is no. So this is the case. Engage. There is no nonsense. So they will, in this case, move back to the more censored 1 order, and which is probe, prefer shooting over melee, and so we'll see. Yes, and yes, both the officer acted initiative and use probe rather than engage. Now moving into the British turn, and very quick recap because it's a shorter one. Our British turn is over. As I said, it's a very quick one. The only in range with their skirmisher are the 95th, which shoot at the counterpart into the woods and miss completely. Then the cazadores take the field in front of them. It grant light cover, but do not block line of sight, and Monmouthshire occupy the barricade in front of them. That's it for the French, for the British. Now moving into the French second turn. Second French turn drew a 7, a direct fire, not very useful at the moment. French a few fire with a skirmisher in front, and then all of them will move. We're back in a sec at the end of the turn for a quick recap. The French turn is over and everything successfully activated. According to the plan, the Legers battalion move on their left side, or the left side of the British, their right side. In the center, all the brigade push forward, the artillery are deployed, and on that side, 3 line battalion push on this side of village. And that's it for the French. There is no one casualty put here from the combined skirmish fire of the voltigeur in front. And now moving into the British turn. The second British turn start with a 4, and with a roll in the center is a 3. 3 is a react. React is good this time, so prefer shooting against melee, and react to the enemy with fire, counter-attack where is needed, prefer fire over melee. If already on the objective, they will engage in melee. Only shaken unit, that's good. So no roll needed, and now moving into the British turn. With no further activation, essentially with the fire phase, the British turn is over, and it was pretty effective because the cazadores put 1 casualty into this unit here of voltigeur. The Portuguese skirmisher put 1 casualty into that battalion down there, and the fire from the 95th rifle shaken this unit, while the skirmisher with their 2 single dice shaken the artillery battery in front of them, which is likely the closest one targetable unit. And that's a very pretty effective turn for the British that put a dent into the artillery essentially. The rest of the casualty is quite acceptable. Now moving into the French turn. It's the French turn, which will start with breakthrough, and this is the turn which the cavalry will arrive, which we see. Now moving into the shooting phase, and then for the rest of the turn a quick recap at the end of it. The entire French line opened fire, but only 1 single casualty were put into the cazador in front of them because everything else missed completely. So very well done, French. Now moving into the activation turn for them. The French turn is over, everything activated with success. This battalion here in column charge the cazadores and inflict 4 casualties, but they stay where they are, passing 3 Valor tests. They do not inflict nothing in return. The rest push hard into the British line, pressing the attack, and as you can see, the cavalry has arrived. The heavy cavalry in the center, the light cavalry on that flank. Here, the light battalion use breakthrough card after the melee to gain the terrain and prepare the attack against the Portuguese, but the next turn will see the British reserves arrives, and they will arrive here into the village. This is the spot where the reserves may arrive, cannot enter here, so we'll see. Now moving into the British turn. Also, I made a mistake. Is it not this turn? is the fourth turn for the British. Anyway, the card is the King, so for the British it's a good one, because it's the perfect ball if they need to fire, and now they need to fire. More firepower is always needed. And now we'll see their chart is a 3 is a react. React is quite good, so no roll needed for the defense. The EA this time works well. Now moving into the fire phase, a quick recap at the end of it, and then the activation. Again, the fire phase for the British was very effective. This battalion here managed to inflict just one casualty into the reserve, but in the center the combined firepower from the Monmouthshire and the Portuguese shaking this column, and on that side the skirmish fire from the 95th and the company of the 95th in the church put one casualty onto the Voltigeur in front of them, and they failed their morale, but their commander passed the Fortitude test, so no defeat inflicted. And now moving into the activation, because they wanted to clear the field because the column are dangerous close. At the few activation is the Cazador that move back and regroup, and the 95th that move back and regroup, and that's it for the tower. And Crawford will move forward because it's grant +1 attack into melee, and probably the melee will soon arrive. And that's it. Moving into the French fourth turn. And the fourth turn start with a 9 surprise attack. Could be helpful right now that the French prepare to storm the village before Picton and the reserves will arrive. So a quick fire from some of the French unit, then we proceed with the assault. I don't know if this is the crucial moment, but the French, now that are close to the enemy, roll very well for their turn. The skirmisher from this battalion here and this battalion here put 2 casualty into this Portuguese battalion. They combined fire from this Voltigeur, that the main attacker, and the support of the artillery, which also say the Portuguese, fire into them and put 3 casualty despite the barrier. They roll 3 dice on 5+. Then with direct fire to that unit here and the support of the artillery, put 2 casualty into the Monmouthshire. So the fire for the supporting unit is quite effective. They do not fire because they want to rally with their action, and try to rally at least. And now proceeding to the activation for the French. Oh, all the French activate, and it was a mass attack into the village, but it was a very blood fighting between the two parts. This Portuguese fighting back, shaking the unit with 4 casualty, but they take enough casualty to be shaken, and 4 Valor tests are required. The same here, this Portuguese hardly sell their life, shaking this unit here, but they also been shaken and need to take 4 Valor tests. The Monmouthshire did the same. One of the column are shaken, but they need to take 5 Valor tests. Less effective than 95th, with put just 1 casualty into the attacking battalion, and are shaken, need to take 3 Valor tests. So now moving into the test for the first Portuguese, which protecting this side of the village, and it's gone. Now this unit of Portuguese here, they also gone, just barely. The Portuguese want to protect their life and their home with their lives. 5 tests needed for the Monmouthshire, and they also failed by 1, and the 95th rifle, which failed twice. So all of them are gone. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 Fortitude test is needed, 2 for the Portuguese brigade here, which both pass, and 2 for the light division, which both fail. The British play the card just 1, so reduced to 1 single defeat for the British, and now proceeding to remove almost all the light division, because they are also shaken and within 6, so they are gone. Only the company of 95th into this church will remain, while the Portuguese save their column with no defeat. And in the next turn the reinforce will arrive, proceeding to remove all the models and back in a sack. Just accumulated a bunch of casualty token for the Brits. It was a bloody one. So Picton is in sight. His vanguard unit is coming in help of Crawford, which forces are depleted. 4th turn for the British, and they take 10. Reconquer an objective in the end of the enemy will grant 2 victory points rather than 1. And in this case, finally we have an objective, so be useful, or at least I may use it for action initiative if some activation is failed. Now a very short fire phase, which I do not recap because of 2 dice, and then the entrance of the reserves, back in a sec for the British turn. The situation in the village starts to be confused because the British battalion arrive one after another, and they engulf the small Portuguese village, and the French press on every side. So the 2 battalion here has occupied the barricades. In practical, they routed the Portuguese and gained their position inside of the village. The only column present charge and break the French counterpart, but take 3 casualty in return. Then arrived Picton with his 2 brigade, and he decided to left 1 battalion per brigade still in reserve for the next turn. He sent every one of his company of riflemen occupying the houses, so every house is at the moment occupied. Then deploy is also artillery, which have a faster movement forward, and 2 battalion take the line, protecting that side of the village, ready to counterattack the French here, and 1 battalion take the line, but at the moment stay in reserve. And 2 battalion of the 2nd Brigade, the Highlander and the 88 Colonel Ranger, move forward. This is the maximum distance that they can move with the enemy inside, and 1 battery of artillery is deployed on the back of the church, and 1 on this side, ready to unleash their firepower next turn. So the French have a turn to push on the assault before the British unleash their deadly firepower. That's it for the British 4th turn, moving into the French one. And the French turn start with a whole-out attack, which is quite good at the moment because they need to push the attack. And that's it. They're moving into the fire, and then a quick recap for them. The fire plan go according to the main plan of Mermet assault. This unit here, which wish to try to rally, shoot with this skirmisher and put 1 casualty into this battalion here. The artillery shoot at the Portuguese column. It is behind its line of sight, so again both enfilade and dense target, plus is in canister range, so the grape shot strike into the column, causing 2 casualty and force them to a Valor test that I'm going to take immediately for you. And the 3, they stay, but they are shaken now. The fire from that voltage here and that voltage here into the house put 1 casualty on a 6 to the rifleman inside. Artillery try to shoot at its counterpart but failed to hit, and fail to hit the line with this battalion here, which also shoot only with the skirmishers because it won't try to rally. And that's it. Now proceeded to the activation for the French. So the French press on. They fail to activate both the cavalry, which frustrated my plan to use a surprise attack to launch the hussars or the chasseurs en cheval on that battalion here, but it is what it is. So this brigade here, the Leger, charge the houses and force the company inside to take one Fortitude Valor test. That line battalion here attack the Portuguese, forcing them 5 Valor tests and taking 2 casualty in return. This unit here crush the horse artillery, forcing the 1st Brigade of Picton Division to take a Fortitude test because they auto-route. And on this side the Highlander has taken 2 casualty, but returning very well against the French, which is shaken and need to take 2 Valor tests. So moving on this test to see the outcome. So the company inside this house here, they rout. Then the 5 tests for the last Portuguese unit, and they also rout, and then the 2 Valor tests for the French, which rout. So I needed to Fortitude test for the French brigade is within 12 inches from Merle, so is on a 3+ and is passed. Then 2 Fortitude tests for the 1st brigade of the division of Picton Division, on both on a 3+. One fail, so 1 defeat for the 1st brigade, and this will mean a lot of casualty all around because there are so many enemy within 6 inches. I proceed to remove the casualty, the casualty, and put the tokens for the defeat, and then moving into the British turn. Now, British turn is a 2. I had to reroll that. The defense, I forgot to roll, but nothing really serious to do. 3 is a react, is a probe. And probe in defense mean always shoot against the enemy, engage in melee only if the enemy is shaker or with counter-strike unit. So it makes sense at the moment. I needed to weak the French before repel them. So that's it. Now moving into the fire for the British. The Picton rule overcome the EA because his trait forces men to assault if they manage to. So the Highlander retain their fire and ready the bayonets, and they are the only one which may assault. So they ready the bayonet, the rest fire. This artillery at canister plus the support of the infantry put 1 casualty thanks to the cover of the houses to this Leger. The fire from this windows here did nothing. There is no other windows to shoot outside the houses, and I use that 1 battalion into this houses may shoot if they have a firing point. So no shoot from them, and shoot from this artillery here, which is in canister range and have a dense target, but thanks to the cover to the field and this rock barricade protect them and take 1 casualty only. Now proceeding into the activation phase. I'm back at the end for a quick recap. So the turn is quite over. The Highlander has charged on the order of Picton, and they change position. One things for you that are watching in this so tiny space, in congested space, I allow this unit, for example, to charge here. They charge and online here, or they will probably charge here and make room to make this contact, because otherwise who is defending in so congested space are practically impossibility to attack or even maneuver. Oh, so that's it. So the outcome is that the Highlander are exhausted, the French are exhausted, but need to take two Valor tests, which are going to take on a 4+. Oh, they are going, and another 3+ for the Fortitude test, and they pass. So no defeat for the French, but another battalion, the 2nd Brigade, is gone. And that's it. Now moving into the French turn. So the French turn start with Vive l'Empereur. Extra movement could be useful for making maybe some charge. We'll see in a sec. Moving into the fire, and then a quick recap at the end of it. A shooting phase is done. The 2 voltigeur unit shoot into the houses but did nothing. This Leger here shoot with its skirmisher and put 2 casualty into the British in front of them. Then the combined skirmisher fire from that unit, and that unit that wanted to had no room to charge. Put casualty here, so 2 casualties, so it means 2 Valor tests for the Highlander, which I immediately roll, and they pass, so they are just shaken, and that's it for fire. Now, according to the Glory Seeker of Merle, who can assault. So this one will try to assault here, that one and that one the houses, and this battalion here will assault here, or something like this. Now I will see. Back at the end of the activation phase. In the heat of battle, the order from Merle didn't reach the officers, so this brigade fate activate them, but I use I discard Vive l'Empereur to attack on initiative from this light only unit here against the house. I prefer to attack with this one rather than enter with this against a line, even it's shaken. 3 casualty, maybe too much. That's it. On that side, everything else activated, so the artillery deployed. They both attack these houses. These 2 regiments here attack the counterpart here, and that one occupy the house. The light cavalry is moved forward, and the heavy cavalry, the dragoon, is moved on a flank. And that's it now. The outcome is 2 Fortitude tests, Valor tests for the company inside the blacksmith. So they gone. 3 Valor tests for the company occupy this house here, and they also gone. And 3 Valor tests for this battalion here, and they are super gone. So this means 1, 2, 3 Fortitude tests for the 1st Picton Division Brigade. So 3 Fortitude tests, 1 is a failure, so a defeat, and this means that all the chicken, but they are the second or the first one, yes, they are gone, and this paid off, and casualty token dispersed all around. So back in a second. So the outcome is that the blacksmith is now occupied by the French. This unit is occupied by a shaken French unit, but they are not gone because I made a mistake. They are part of the 2nd Brigade of the 3rd Division, so they are shaken, but they are not gone due to the destruction of the units from the 1st Brigade. That's it. Now moving into the British turn. Red card for the British is needed because the situation starts to look quite grim. Ooh, the Queen is not bad because the Queen is defensive fire, so when they charge the French, this could help. And now it's the time to use even the King, the perfect volley. So moving into the fire. I forgot to roll, so I rolled to now 3. 3 is probe, so okay, shoot and counter attack. It's quite good. I've just resolved the 5 phase, so The artillery in canister range put 1 casualty into the house against this battalion here. The 95th rifle shoot straight forward into this and put 1 casualty that I forgot to put, and now I put it, and 1 casualty to the dragoon in front of them with the skirmisher, and 2 casualty from the artillery into this column here, because there's 1 must attack, there's 1 must attack, there's 1 must attack when they move. So that's it, moving into the activation phase for the British. So the end of the activation phase, British activate everything with success. And the counter-assault is pretty effective thanks to the Crawford and Picton, who push their men against their horde. So there's 1 shaking the battalion, and in return is shaking. No one need to test. They need 6 Valor tests to the assault of that 88nd Battalion of the Crawford Ranger. Here the Highlander, despite their shaken, they win the melee and forcing them to take 2 casualty. They win thanks to the reroll of the 1. So 2 Valor tests for that unit here, and it's gone, and 6 unlikely Valor tests for the unit into the house, which is super gone. So 2 Fortitude tests, both are from the same brigade, on a 3+, wait a sec, yes, on a 3+, 1 failure, 1 pass. So this is a very bad news for the Brits, because they have a lot of shaking unit within 6 inches from the enemy, and this may collapse on this flank thanks to the Highlander. The entire brigade is collapsed, is melt away. Just this unit here shaken because they take the casualty within 6 inches from the enemy. That flank completely collapsed, just the cavalry remained to protect them. And also in the center, the British retake control of this house here, removing the battalion to make just the command. Okay, that's it. Only that side need to push, but they're not in good shape. Just 1 turn to probably, at least it looks like, if they turn in the tide, we'll see, into the French turn now. So the French turn start with a turn too late. This card could save the day for the French. The fate is not with them. So we'll cope with what we have, moving into the French fire phase and then assaulting the enemy. The French force feel the moment this artillery shaken and force this battery to take 1 test. For the rest of the fire is quite ineffective. The artillery shot at the houses but did nothing. Them united their skirmisher fire into their skirmisher fire here and their skirmisher fire here and miss everything. The rest is he cannot shoot. He must attack to the, it's not within 12 meters. Yes, he can shoot, sorry, I just a little bit mistake. Anyway, they did nothing in any case, so that's it for the fire. Now moving into the movement and action phase. The turn is over and this battalion is going behind any possibility against all odds. They repelled the dragoon, forcing them shaken and take 1 valor test. The other charge here, they using surprise attack and outflank the artillery, getting enough movement to outflank and crush them. And the same did the chasseur and cheval on the exhausted battalion here, which did nothing in return. So 1 valor test for the dragoon, and they fail. They're gone. What this battalion is doing is sounding amazing. They are the real hero of the battle. They stay against anything the French throw at them. So Fortitude test for the heavy cavalry which at least is pass, so no defeat. And that's it. Now moving into remove the casualty and move. The British have to take 3 fortitude tests, sorted two fortitude tests, both for the first. Yes, the one of the first and one of the second. So the first brigade is pass. The second brigade on a 3 is pass. Need a double check. Yes, both are pass. No defeat inflicted to the British. So the British turn start with a 3 confusion. Okay, they use both defensive fire and breakthrough in the previous turn. So after the melee, they reposition in 2 battalions ready to counter strike, and now proceeding into the fire for the British. The British fire did nothing here with the skirmisher. Obviously, they put 1 casualty into the voltiger in front and shake them. They failed to hit the column, and that's it. Now moving into the activation for the Brits. So I shoot with them, but they have to charge because they have Picton in the army. Luckily they hit nothing, so discard. They charge from the houses, they form a square, they inflict 4 casualty, taking 4, so they are shaken, but also force the French to take a test. They are shaken, but they need to take 2 Valor tests. So 1 Valor test for the cavalry, which stay, and 1 Valor test for the infantry, which also stay. Good. Finally the French found their morale, the stamina. That's it for the British. Now moving into the French turn. And the French turn started with a confusion, quite good, not essential but not bad. Now moving into the fire and then resolving the activation down there in the village. Few shots, the horse artillery here shoot into the square and put 2 casualty with the canister and the dense target, so 2 casualty here, and 2 casualty from the voltiger here, which needed to take 2 Valor tests from the Highlander, which refuse to run. They are quite unbeatable, quite invincible. The unbreakable battalion now they became in the memory. That's it. Moving into the activation phase for the French. The British defense, despite being heroical, is slowly crumbling because this unit here inflicted 3 casualty to the hussars, but take 3 casualty, so is auto-rout. This here inflicted 2 casualty to the dragoon, shaking them, but they auto-rout because they take 2 casualty and auto-rout. They again repel the column, inflicting 2 casualty and 2 Valor tests to take by the French here, and this line here have to take 4 Valor tests. So 4 Valor tests for the British. On a 4 they gone, and the 2 Valor tests for the French on a 4 they also gone, and I cannot use the card because they both fail their morale. So 1 fortitude test, no, the brigade is shattered, so 1 automatic defeat inflicted to Merle, and the British have to take 3 Valor tests. 1 for, all of them are for the Picton brigade. 2 failure and 1 pass. No, this 1 is pass. 1 failure, but this means that all the 2nd brigade crumbled as the French did previously, removing the battalion, assign the eventually casualty, and back in a sack. And this battalion, but not for their guilt, is crumbling because the brigade around him is crumbling. Back in a sec. It was the British turn, and the situation is this. They save one square, one company into the church, lots of Chicken battalion, and half an hour of game. And Picton decided to go for a last turn, and if the fire for the British managed to success and make some unit crumble for the good, then otherwise he sound the retreat, and the remaining on his forces fell back in order. So the turn start with 7 direct fire, means quite good. The turn start quite good, and now we're into the shooting phase. On Picton orders the square open fire. From the church, the 95th open fire. Both the Hussars and the Dragoon have to test. The Hussars stay. The Dragoon also stay. That's it. The French played disorder, but there is nothing real that the British have to activate. The last turn of the game for the French, and the British have to admit their defeat. Mermet don't need to inflict more pain to the British, just want to assure his victory. He lost Grognard, who would be promoted. Grognard, probably the infantry that lead the last charge. That's it. It's not necessary to do anything. No fire. The Grognard, the freshly promoted Grognard, occupy that houses there, and moving to the last moment of the game, the counting of the point, but it's a French victory for sure. So in the end, despite the crazy defense of the 74 Highlanders, the French managed to seize the day with an outstanding 11 against 3 for the British to defeat. 5 for the British to defeat, and the 3 point of the church. So that's it. 11-5 is the result of this battle today, and this put an end to our game. It's a very, very, very close one until the last turn, I have to say, with the so stubborn British defense. And when the French brigade collapsed entirely, I fear to grab the victory from this game. Anyway, this historical list worked pretty well, and it was a very, very fun game. The AA this time works good. The dice for the British are hot, probably. Without so many 5 and 6s, it would be end in the same way, but earlier. Anyway, it is what it is. It was a fun game, and I hope that you enjoyed it too. So, thank you for watching, happy wargaming, and see you next time.